The 20-year family lie. No palace, no political intrigue, just brothers, and a hatred that had been simmering long enough to turn into something cold and deliberate. Genesis 37:18 says that when Joseph's brothers saw him coming from a distance, they conspired against him to kill him. That word conspired isn't accidental. This wasn't a fight that got out of hand. This was a plan, talked through, agreed upon, and set in motion before Joseph ever reached them. They grabbed him, stripped his robe, and threw him into a pit. Then Genesis 37:25 records one of the most chilling details in all of Scripture. They sat down to eat, while their brother was screaming below them. Then they sold him to Midianite traders for 20 pieces of silver and watched him disappear into the distance toward Egypt. What came next is what transforms this from a family tragedy into a full conspiracy. They took Joseph's robe, slaughtered a goat, and dipped it in the blood. Then they brought it to their father and said in Genesis 37:32, "We found this. Please identify whether it is your son's robe or not." They didn't even speak the lie directly. They handed Jacob the evidence and let grief do the rest. Genesis 37:33 says, Jacob identified it and said, "It is my son's robe. A fierce animal has devoured him." And then he tore his garments, put on sackcloth, and wept for his son many days. His sons stood there and watched him. The same sons who manufactured his grief, consoling the father they had just destroyed. That detail is what makes this conspiracy extraordinary. They didn't just tell a lie, they maintained it for over 20 years across a family, across a famine, across an entire migration to Egypt. Not one of them broke. And then Genesis 45 happened. The man they sold into slavery was standing before them as second in command over all of Egypt. Genesis 45:3 records the moment the entire architecture collapsed. Joseph said to his brothers, "I am Joseph. Is my father still alive?" And his brothers could not answer him, for they were dismayed at his presence. 20 years of silence, undone in one sentence, every layer of the cover-up exposed, not by an investigation, not by a confession, but by divine timing so precise it could only be God. And Joseph's own verdict over everything they had done to him is recorded in Genesis 50:20. "As for you, you meant evil against me, but God meant it for good." The deepest plots in Scripture never outwit God, they just end up serving him.